to the Vitalmoments podcast. My name is David. I'm joined by my dad and also the lead pastor of Vitalpoint Church. And guess what, dude? It's the last podcast recording of 2024.
How wild is that?
Brings a tear to my eye.
Well, I wasn't around for a good chunk of them. I was on sabbatical this year. I almost forget that I was on sabbatical this year. That
I blocked it completely out.
Yeah, your mom and I were gone for 3 months and then some vacation time on top of that. So
yeah, I completely blocked it out because I lost my dad, I lost my boss, I lost my friend. No, I'm just kidding.
You're a goof.
No, it was a crazy year. Like, well, it is wild, right? Like,
do you remember what the theme is? Do you remember what the 2024 theme is?
Unwavering faith. Joshua chapter 3, right?
Consecrate yourselves for tomorrow.
Yeah.
The Lord should do great things.
Yes. It was such a good year, though. Like, if you think of that theme, like, even just saying unwavering faith, like, a few stories come to my mind of people, like, that really leaned into life this year within the context of VPC at all of our sites.
Yeah.
Where they truly allowed their faith become the cornerstone of their life. Mm-hmm. It was awesome, man. Like, what's your thoughts around 2024?
Well, 2024 was a fascinating year because obviously your mom and I were gone for a good chunk of the ministry season. But I also think what I liked about the unwavering faith theme is, and we launched this in the first Sunday of 2024, is that the consecrating of yourselves, the preparation for yourself is not so that God does the work. It's so that you actually see the work that God is going to do. So as they cross the Jordan rivers, people potentially could have missed the miracle because they were so focused on themselves, right?
Yeah.
And I believe that we have seen over the course of 2024, people's deepening, the strengthening and the deepening of people's faith, where there is just a seriousness, but yet a joy. Even this past Sunday, I mean, it was incredible to see in Poplar Hill in particular, like people coming forward after the service for prayer and that place of surrender. It's that continual work that God is doing in the lives of people. And it's just been quite a year. I mean, I look back, producer Jocelyn and I were looking back just before you jumped on over the course of the year and the things we've looked at, right? We did Fearless, we did prayer, we did Romans 8, we did Battle Strong, which is spiritual, the spiritual battle stuff that we talked about. And then Psalm 23, and then Vitality series, looking at the 5-fold gifts, and 10th anniversary in there. And
oh man.
Yeah, it's expansion of Forest. Think about unwavering faith, taking that step of Forest, and that has been a real it's been, we had to have unwavering faith in the prophetic words that were given to us about Forest as we've launched that and got it off the ground, and it continues to move forward. And it's been quite a year of, also I think when you look at the leadership, like the staffing of Vitalpoint, the strength and the vitality of each of the staff as they continue to lead into the calling that they have in their lives. And it's been quite a year.
It really has been. It's like, you think about that story of Joshua chapter 3, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, more than we actually can truly understand, that they would say, my feet are wet. Like, I stepped into the river.
Yeah. Wow. That's
right.
Good.
It's so good. The realizing, or really coming to the reality of, like, my feet are wet because I actually walked with God this year and I saw him do amazing things. And like you said, there's going to be some people that are like, man, this year was tough. Like, I really didn't see God move in my life. And we have to ask ourselves, like, was I navel gazing? Was I looking at myself? Was I trying to pull myself along on my own? Like, I went through my journal this morning because it's now at the end of the year. You start doing some self-reflection, stuff like that. And I was looking back at the beginning of the year of the things that I was hoping God would do. And then I flipped forward a little bit and saw some of the answered prayers, but also the struggles that I was trying to walk through as well. And it was just amazing. And I started to think, man, like God really did move in my life this year. And that's what my hope and prayer is as a pastor, is like more people realize that they moved with God and they saw his glory shape their life.
Yeah. And I think in church world, church work in which we do, I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of people now that are part of Vitalpoint Church. And what I love about it is that there are the unseen stories of people's lives. And so every once in a while, God allows us to have a glimpse of what's happening. But it is in our faithful obedience that we trust that the work is being done, even if we don't see it. And that enables us to continue to move forward. And it's hard. I mean, you and I chatted yesterday after church. I call all the site pastors after church and check in on them. And, sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it can be hard and frustrating. And at times you wonder, are people understanding what we're trying to do and accomplish? But what keeps us going is it's actually the faithfulness of God, right?
Yeah. It's his faithfulness.
It's his faithfulness. I was thinking about this. I'm going to expand on this a bit more at some point in the future. I was thinking about Moses, the story yesterday that I gave for free at the beginning of the message. Moses doesn't speak to the rock. He actually taps it twice, but the water still flowed, which demonstrates the faithfulness of God. And I think that there's a piece of it that we just have to remember. God is continuing to be faithful. And
yeah, I heard one person say, when it comes to gifting or experiencing God move in your life through the supernatural power of his spirit, is you can use the gift, but forget the giftee. Which means you can use the gift. God will still use you, but you can forget that he's the one that truly gave it to you.
And that's a scary part of leadership. Maybe the scary.
I don't even think it's just leadership. I think it's just being a follower of Jesus.
Yeah, sure. I was thinking more from the perspective of leadership, in the sense that Moses did something that he'd done in the past, but God still blessed it. And then, I mean, you can kind of go along for a while, like the podcast we were just talking about before we hit record. Like you can go along for a while and go, well, look what's happening. Like great things are happening, and not actually have that walk with Jesus. And anyway, there's some expansion in there.
But I think,
go ahead.
I think what's good is where our Sunday landed, right? We wrapped up our Exodus and Jesus series. And it helped. It's actually a great landing for our year too, before Christmas.
Yeah.
Right. Because here's this moment in Exodus 34, Exodus chapter 34, where Moses is described as someone that is glowing. There is a actual physical transformation that the people of Israel are actually seeing. And there's a veil, and there's the shining face, and there's the presence of God, and there's the tabernacle. It's going up the mountain. It's all of this beautiful description of how powerful a relationship is with God. And coming to an end of a year or end of a series, it's this time for us to really ask ourselves, what are the things in place in our life that draw us closer to God, or what are the things that are actually drawing us away from him? Because what we seek in this world, we end up becoming, right?
Yeah.
You and I have our phone wall covers right now, or screen covers, screensavers, whatever they're called. We become like what we behold, right? Whatever captures our gaze, we become like. And I think this is a great wrap up for the season too of 2024.
Yeah, you have to ask yourself, what are you looking more like? When Moses, when you spend time with God, through your relationship with Jesus and the power of the Spirit, you don't remain the same.
Yeah,
there will be some form of transformation that happens in your life, and that was for Moses. Moses would go into the tent, and he would come out, and he would have to cover his face because of the glow. The shining aspect of who he is.
Yeah.
And I one of the things that you have to ask yourself is, what do you look like?
Mm.
Do you look like more of the things of this world? Right? Do you look more like the podcasts that you listen to, or the preachers that you follow, or you're, politically, are you left, are you right, or, the conspiracy theories that you watch on YouTube, and before you know it, that's shaping everything about your life and how you talk, how you see the world, and that always concerns me when I think about. Yeah, I listen to podcasts. Yeah, I'm intrigued and don't know much about I don't claim to know much about the political landscape of our world because it's so unbelievably complex. I just think that there's a piece of it that we have to ask ourselves. I talked to someone yesterday, and they have all the intentions of the world to spend time in the evening with their Bible and prayer with the Lord. And there's that, you get to the end of the day and you're tired and you're exhausted. So you put it aside, and by no means is that judgment or shame. It's just the reality of life. And if, maybe David, it's looking at, what do I need to cut out of my life? What do I need to get rid of? Ask God, what is it do I need to get rid of in order to prioritize that? Even when it doesn't feel like anything's happening, right?
Yeah.
Right? When it feels like nothing's changing or nothing, but it's a consistency. It's the regularity of being in those moments where you're listening, you're journaling, and maybe it's going to bed earlier and getting up earlier, before the rest of the family, or before your roommates get up, or whatever it might be, that there's a piece of this where you have to just really work through that. And I mean, you will prioritize the things that you value, David.
Yeah. So true.
That's just the reality of it. And you will prioritize those things that you value the most. And if you value watching Netflix ad nauseum, then that's what you'll do. Happen. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think as I continue to follow Jesus in my own walk, it's like, if the enemy can try to distract me as much as he can, draw my eyes to something else other than Christ, he's done a good job of keeping me off what God needs me to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And ultimately, what our lives are supposed to do when you follow Christ is to worship God, to glorify him in everything that we do.
That's right. And Paul talks about that in the passage in 2 Corinthians. It's the increase of the glory, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's an important dynamic when you think about the conversation yesterday and wrapping up the series, was that it's not necessarily all about becoming Jesus. It's actually having his characteristics formed in me so that his glory may be known, so that we radiate his glory. And that we joked about, I don't know how it landed in the other sites by video, but in Poplar Hill, when I said it's the kingdom glow up, right?
And it landed in Exeter, at least.
In Poplar Hill, people started laughing, and I'm thinking, and I actually said, I think in the first service, I said, you're all laughing and you don't even know what it is. And
that's good. That's good.
It's the eternal, it's the kingdom glow up. It's that reality of that we're dead in our sin, and in our natural selves, we're dead in our sin, but we're made alive in Christ, and that glory increases in us. And so therefore we radiate that glory. And so even when it comes to sharing our faith, it's actually our lives that demonstrate that glory. And I'm always amazed at the conversations I have with people that prioritize their relationship with Jesus. They rarely have to bring up faith because their lives are a demonstration of their faith, and their lives glorify God, and the glory of God shines through them, radiates through them. And there's, the conversations that, people are intrigued by. And
like, I got a buddy right now named Devin. He's like, his life completely transformed by Christ.
Yeah.
And
I met Devin actually.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
And like, man, he gets a Bible, he starts just diving into it, and the guy has opportunity after opportunity after opportunity right now where he is just sharing his faith. And when I get in the same space as him, I can actually, like, I can sense that God is with him.
Yeah.
Because he is filled with so much eternal joy.
Yeah.
Like, it is so evident right now in his life, and he's real honest with me, because we're like, we've got a relationship like that where he's honest, like, I'm not doing well, I'm doing great, like, God's close to me, I don't feel his presence. Like it's all of this beautiful reality of life,
right?
But you can tell that he is just getting lost in God's glory, and then God is giving him opportunities to share the goodness that he's experienced with others.
Yeah. So I mean, he shared with me, random conversation on the street. Right?
Yeah, he's probably maybe got the gift of evangelism.
Not maybe.
I know. I don't want to pump his tires too much, but it's just amazing to see.
Does he listen to the podcast?
He does.
He does. Okay. Yeah.
It is amazing to see when people, young and old, find the true passion for the glory of God, and then say, I must usher this into other people's lives by just the way I live.
Yeah. Yeah.
We often think like, man, we've got to have the 3 steps, got to make it work.
Yeah.
I got to go to a training event. I got to pray harder. I got to journal more. But if you look at Luke chapter 10, Jesus just says to the disciples in the 72, he says, just go. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Like, just go.
There's something that it's come to my mind. We had a prayer event in Poplar Hill, and unfortunately, I don't know if they happen in other sites because of storms and stuff like that. I think we had to cancel them and stuff. But we had a prayer event last week, and we had this time of listening prayer. And your mom, got the word more, and I believe that as we wrap up 2024 and get ready for 2025, that God has so much more for Vitalpoint Church and the apostolic calling on our church, that God is going to pour more of his presence and his spirit out, and that more people will have encounters with him, and that more people will go and live out their faith in a way that reflects his glory. And I'm not even, your mom and I were talking about this, it's not even just about more, as in, it wasn't more in numbers. It was more in the pouring out of God's spirit. And yeah, I just hope that as we wrap up 2024 with unwavering faith and the amount of new people that are coming into the context of Vitalpoint Church, that there is a reawakening of sorts that we've seen. And I know other churches are seeing this too, right? There's just this, I think there's a prep work that's happening. And I also think too, David, when it comes to, the outpouring is happening because people are getting real with their brokenness and their confession, and people are coming to us and acknowledging their brokenness and their sin, and it's quite,
they're actually seeing the power of Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Through the Spirit work in them.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you repent, when you confess, when you open up and become real with the reality of what your life is right now, the Father goes, and you may be healed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
From this, I'm talking about spiritual brokenness and stuff like that. I'm not talking about the physical right now.
Yeah.
And then when people experience that freedom, because Corinthians talks about that, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom.
Freedom, yeah. When you turn to the Lord, the veil is removed.
The veil's removed. And you actually are in the close proximity with the Lord.
Yeah.
Like, that's what true freedom looks like and feels like. And it gives us a glimpse of what the other side of eternity will be with the Father.
Right. Which,
it blows my mind. It's like we get to usher this in and live this out for people to experience.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
So I know it's not like an actual wrap up of Sunday, but it did have a little bit of the contingencies of like, how are you spending time with God?
Yeah.
The last song we sang on Sunday was, I can't remember.
Turn your eyes to Jesus.
Turn your eyes.
Yeah.
Turn your eyes to Jesus, right? And if you get a chance to read your Bible, in the New Testament, it says, fix your eyes on the kingdom of heaven, right? It's like, don't get caught up by this world. And I believe we are seeing, like you said, and then stories that we don't know right now, where people are learning how to fix their eyes on Jesus in the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
And in God's faithfulness and goodness, he will give you opportunities to reach the people around you.
Yeah.
Just stay faithful.
Yeah. And as we record this coming weekend, 10 services, 4 locations.
Man, oh man.
Yeah. Lots of tickets out, and there's a real excitement amongst people. So I'm asking to have some more tickets released for Poplar Hill.
Nice.
Just taking into consideration the percentage of people that don't show up. So we're
just going to sit on top of each other.
Thankfully, our chairs are like pews there, so we can kind of squish in. But it's going to be a great weekend of celebrating, bringing our year to an end. No Sunday morning services this Sunday. No service on December 29th. It's a rest Sunday. Enjoy this Christmas season.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll come back 2025 as far as we know.
As far as we know. Oh my goodness. Oh, you're hilarious. No, it is.
We're only guaranteed today.
Yeah.
Not tomorrow.
Yeah. Thanks for the part-time on the podcast this year, eh?
Yeah, no problem.
No, it's been great. It's been so good to have, like, even just think of that. We had all the site pastors across the whole year on here, sharing stories from their sites. It is so good. Yeah. So it's amazing.
Thanks to producer Josh for all your work this year.
Yeah, like the video for Josh.
Yeah.
Josh.
Yeah. Oh. I wish people would make comments and give suggestions and stuff like that. Leave reviews. So that we know, like, we can make some changes for 2025.
Yeah. But maybe there's no changes because it's so good already.
Oh boy.
Just kidding. Okay, we're out of here. Have a good rest of your 2024, and we can't wait to celebrate Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
In the new year as well. Okay, peace out.